What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Delicate Plan podcast. I am Primitive, and as always, I'm joined with the man, the myth, the legend, Dante. What's going on, man?
Oh, good, Prim. How you doing, man?
I am doing pretty good. We got BT7 pre-release starting this week, or this weekend. So this past weekend, I went to a couple pre-releases. Was able to snag up a couple decks, build a couple decks. Still got to get a couple more cards, but other than that, ready for a new metagame.
Yeah, see, that's the interesting part. Me personally, I actually had to take a week off because, you know, it, I don't know, like, I feel like burnout's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And getting fatigued with a card game is probably the worst thing you can actually do or experience because, while you're passionate about it, it's just one of those things to where, like, burnout is real. And I don't think a lot of people, know or know how to identify burnout or anything to that. But between content creators like myself and you, and just everything about the game, we love it. But sometimes you gotta step away from it. And that's what I've done this past week. I had to like really step away from the game for a minute.
I mean, I'm with you there completely. If you were watching my content, you were following my Twitch, you know that like after nationals happened, I pretty much took like a 2 week break where I pretty much didn't play like any Digimon and didn't make as much content because I was super burnt out. I played so much going into nationals, and like I played every deck in the metagame. I played against each deck. I ran so many scenarios over and over and over again, and just testing it out and testing this line, testing that line, following the what would be the quote optimal line like hundreds, if not thousands,
Mhm.
of times. And then when it was over, it was just like I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to step away. Like burnout is a thing that, as somebody who's been like highly competitive my entire life and have been like always competing at a high level in some sort of either card game or like esport, I burn out super hard, like aggressively hard, pretty much like two, three, maybe even four times a year. Because I just go into cycles where it's like I just grind it out, and then I'll hit a point for like 1 or 2 weeks. I can't get myself to do it. I got to take a little bit of a break, and then either something changes where it comes like I either get back into the gotta grind mindset, or there's a tournament announced, or like right now we have BT7 coming out, so it's kind of like a new challenge of learning a new metagame and stuff. But I don't think that me and you are the only people that experienced burnout within the past like month or two in Digimon. Um, Nationals kind of, I think, took a lot out of some of the more competitive people, and then the people who were in it who
Mhm.
were content creators like myself. I was just like streaming, and then when I wasn't streaming, I was at locals. If I wasn't at locals, I was like playing. I was playing so much Digimon, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I know when the national scene was coming up, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ease back. I'm gonna cut back on my schedule. I even sat back and was like, okay, how do I want to make the channel grow? How do I want to go ahead and what's my schedule gonna look like? So for people for people who are subscribed to my channel, they notice that I don't upload on Fridays anymore. I upload on Saturdays now. So I upload Monday, Wednesday, Saturday just to give me that time from that Wednesday to that Saturday to think about what I want to do, how to prepare for it. Hit up the local scene on Friday. It was one of the things to where you had to learn how to spread, spread out your love for this card game or any card game. At that matter, especially if you're a competitive person. Like burnout's real, especially if you're a competitive person.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced this in two other card games. I experienced this in the Pokemon TCG, and I experienced this when I was playing Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, that was just compounded with, the whole price gouging through the roof, $4,000 Goku, all that kind of stuff. But especially with Pokemon, to where a lot of the card game is really cheap. It's like on par with Digimon. Digimon's probably even cheaper. Like just playing it so much, like you can experience, especially if you go to locals once or twice a week, especially if you like how me and you doing, how we have a channel we're talking about it, we're covering it. That kind of stuff actually really, really gets to you because like this is one of them things to where it's not, our life,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something that we love to do. And when your hobby starts to become more of a chore or a job, that's when burnout really, really seems to set in for a lot of people. I've been talking to people, you know, actually around our scene and, around the local community. And this is why people show up, once or twice a month rather than showing up, 4, 5, 6 times a month, every week or twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things where you got to kind of step back every once in a while. Like you said, like you get burned out 3, 4 times a year. So it seems like every 3 to 4 months, it's like, okay, hold on, I got to step back, and that's probably the best thing that you can do for your mental when it comes to playing this card game.
Mm-hmm. So the thing with me is I feel like I mean there's definitely going to be other people in the community or people listening who are like on the same boat as me, but I feel like
Mhm.
when it comes to like stuff like this, I feel like I'm just like mentally like I look at it differently, right? Like when it comes to like competing and tournaments and grinding and streaming content creation, this is just like what I do, and this is what I've just always done. Like I've always competed, I've always traveled, I've played in regionals, nationals of so many different events, playing in like local events like every week. It's just kind of
Mhm.
like what I've always done. So and it's what I want to do, and I have like it's really easy for me to like get back into the groove just because I have just natural drive, I guess, to want to compete and like play in tournaments and stuff. It's just like some people play golf and some people like fish or do, whatever their hobbies are or
Right.
whatever. It's just this is like my main hobby, but it's also to a degree a lot of the time how I spend a lot of my time because not only am I playing it like let's say at locals, but I'm streaming it or making content or now we're doing the podcast and stuff like that. And like as you said, a lot of the times, and this is definitely how it's been for me for a lot of times, even outside of Digimon, where it's like when you do make content, a lot of the times the game can kind of feel more like a job than it is like
Mhm.
a hobby. But the thing is sometimes that kind of gets to me, but a lot of the time it kind of I don't know, motivates me in a way to be like, where it's like, I want to provide the best that I can if I am going to be like doing content or anything like that. And I don't know, it's just like natural drive, but I think burnout is just natural. I don't think it really matters what level you are. It doesn't matter if you're like casual, semi casual, if you're like super competitive. Whatever it is, when you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, eventually you're going to want some sort of change and to do something a little bit different, which is just I think it's just natural, honestly. I think even if you're just playing like semi casually and you play Digimon sometimes, but then you have this one stint where like for 2 weeks straight you're playing Digimon every single day. So you just went from playing Digimon like once every 1 or 2 weeks to playing every single day. Well, then you could probably get burnt out from that. Or if you're like me, where it's just like, oh, you grinded for 6 to 8 hours every day for like a month straight for nationals. Well, once that's over and there's no real tournament to play for, then it's just kind of like, okay, well, now I just want to do something else because I spent all the time here. And I wrote like an article about this over a year ago that I showed you on my blog,
Mhm.
and I'll go ahead and link that in the description for people who want to check it out. Where I actually wrote something about preventing and overcoming burnout, and I think that article you could check it out. We might touch on some stuff talking about it, but like with that thing, oh, like preventing burnout, a lot of the times, I don't think burnout is 100% preventable. I don't think you can go forever without burning out in like
Mhm.
anything. I just don't think it's possible. And so it's more so just like prolonging it. Don't burn out as much as possible. For me, I burn out like I said, like 3, 4 times a year just because I grind every day. This isn't like a seasonal thing. It's like an everyday, like multiple days a week, all day, playing card games, making content, talking to people about card games, watching card games. Like it's all the time. So it's like when you're doing it all the time, yeah, eventually you're gonna burn out. And when it is something where it's not like your full time job, like I don't have to clock in and out when I'm playing Digimon. And so when you get burnt out, the best thing to always do is just do whatever it is best that makes it so you don't burn out harder or that you can come back. And for me, I've always found that like doing something else and stepping away usually helps me because that way I can like kind of refocus my vision on the game and like my mindset towards it, and then I can usually get back into it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's funny
And
because like
by quickly I mean like 2 weeks, which
I
I feel like is pretty quick for a burnout recovery.
yeah, I don't. So my thing is, I feel like burnout is just a all encompassing. It's an all encompassing word. So
Mm,
it's one of those things to where there's different levels to burnout. You have burnout to where okay, let me step back for a week or two, get my head together, and then go back into it. And then there's burnout to where, you know what, I don't want to play this game no more. I'm just tired. I'm done with it. Like I have to move on to something else. And human nature says that, you know, we're not meant to be in the typical normal routine cycle. We're meant to explore. We're meant to, attain knowledge. We're meant to, you know, find different avenues and, go out and experience different things like that. That's just a human thing. Like
mm,
all of us humans like thrive to do that. So whether it's your hobby or your job, it doesn't matter. Like if it's something that you cannot stomach, like you're going to get burned out and fatigued mentally because of that, because you're trying to push yourself to actually accept this when you probably should be either taking a break from it, stepping back from it, or even finding something else new to go ahead and replace it with. Like that's just natural.
yeah,
And
sorry, I was just gonna say I think burning out in itself, like taking time away, helps you do other things and then use that perspective to like view like what you're doing now. Like for example, I took like a 2 week break and I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh with Chris because Chris was getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh, so I was trying to relearn Yu-Gi-Oh, hang out with all the all homies and stuff like that. And I've been playing, but when playing it, it's just such a different game that like playing it gave me a new perspective on like all the time that I spent playing Digimon. Like I really enjoy the game, and I can tell that by playing other card games that it's just like, yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh's fun except for when you get scythe locked, then it's awful.
right.
But it's like it's fun at times. But like Digimon, I have fun like all the time. So it's like a perspective change.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do agree with you 100%. It's one of those things where like you gotta know what your limit is, and if you push past that limit, you have to understand that once you stop pushing, you're going to get burned out. And if
Mm,
you go too far too fast, you're going to get burned out. It's just a natural consequence of you pushing that boundary and that limit. Like me sitting back for a couple of weeks, I was like, what do I want to do for this next coming up set, or how is things looking? And I was like, ooh, what about this line? What about like I can then think about it on my own time,
mm.
my own terms, instead of, oh, I have to get ready for this locals I went to 100 times, and it's the same still meta. No, like I think I experienced this during Lord Nightmine, to where I was like, well,
I think
I
a
could
lot of
play
people
against
experience
Lord
that during
Nightmine.
Lord Nightmon.
Yeah, it was one of the things to where it was oppressive, but at the same time, there was only so much you can do against and versus Lord Nightmine, and was only so many, decks or lines of plays that if the deck don't brick, then you should be good. But the deck bricks, and they don't saying like it's too many variables and factors to it. So a lot of people's like, you know what, I'm gonna take a break during Lord Nightmine, and some people haven't came back yet. Like
Mm-hmm.
our friend Josh, he was gone for like the last 2 3 months. He last time he was around, it was like the beginning of Lord Nightmine, and now he's coming back in BT7 because he feel
Yeah.
like it's a breath of fresh air now. Like he went over to Pokemon, that's where I met him at, and now he's like, you know what, Pokemon's getting a little bit stale. I'm coming back over to Digimon, so he's going back and forth. But it's great for him to do that because it takes away the burnout and the fatigue of the card game being in it for too long.
Yeah, and I think as somebody like when I've competed, I've always had usually like two things that I compete in, but one being a primary and one being a secondary. For a
Hmm.
long time, for like a multitude of years, my secondary thing was Smash Brothers, and I just like to
Oh
go and
yeah.
play, but I never took anything too seriously. But if you're like highly competitive driven like me, and you need to take a break from the thing that you're competing in, having something else that you can compete in, um, that like isn't just like brand new, you're not just like always hopping into other things, I think is nice because that would help me when I was playing VGC and I was playing like VGC all the time, making VGC content and all that stuff. Um, Sometimes I just didn't want to play VGC, but I wanted to like do something or like be a competitor. So it was like, oh, I could go to the local Smash tournament and play this, and it's like a completely different skill set, completely different like area of gameplay, but it was still something that I really enjoyed, and it kind of fulfilled that like craving. And if you're not somebody that's
Hmm.
like super competitive driven and you just like to play the game as a hobby, having an alternate hobby is also pretty good. Like I think like in general a lot of times you don't really want to just fixate on one hobby your like entire life. Like being able to have that kind of like backup things that you do is going to be really good with burnout in general, just because it's like, okay, well, if you get burnt out on like something on like Digimon, but all you focus on is on Digimon, but you don't want to play, then it's like you don't really know what to do. But if you have like that backup, it's always kind of like nice, and it's always just a nice refresher, because even if you don't get burnt out and you're just frustrated, you can go back to like doing something. But I don't think that's really like crazy advice. That's just having like multiple hobbies. But like one thing you were saying, and I think this kind of um leans in with the Lord Nightmon stuff, is like there were people that left when playing Lord Nightmon, and I think they were experiencing burnout. And I think one thing that like some people probably feel burnout, but they probably interpret it as like I'm not
Frustration.
enjoying this game anymore, or like
Right.
like I can't win anymore, so this is frustrating. When it's just like all you really need to do is like take a break because you just hit that limit.
Right. You're right. I agree with that. We have a very special person, Chris, who, is playing Yu-Gi-Oh as well. We're trying to get him, back to playing Digimon, but that's a whole different monster in itself. But yeah, just the frustration a lot of people, it's like, well, this game is just, this game's dying. This game is dead. It's not. It's
No,
really not. Like
no.
this game is actually flourishing. It's actually the third most popular game now. I believe in the world, if not definitely in America, behind Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. So this game isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Like it's even jump popularity when it comes to Magic, and that's surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my thing is, yes, a lot of people want the competitive scene to be a lot more competitive. Yes, a lot of people, like, well, what about from this card game, from this card game? But you gotta remember, it's unique in its own self. So if you're frustrated because it's not going your way, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's, maybe change the deck up, maybe change the playstyle up, maybe, just change, your line of thinking. Or if all else fails, take some time to fall back for a little bit, take a few weeks, a couple weeks, and just be like, okay, is this really the card game I want to play? It's okay if you do not. Like, we want the community to grow, but we don't want people to be up in it for the wrong reasons
Mm-hmm.
or to make it, toxic. Then that's what we do not want it to be. I've been through many communities of different TCGs. Like I played at least 8 to 10 different TCGs, and my thing is like most of them are toxic, and that is because of frustration. Frustration leads to toxicity in 9 times out of 10. And that's the thing about it. Like, it's okay to, like, for me, for instance, I play Master Duel. When I'm not playing Digimon, I play Master Duel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just bought, Zero Dawn Horizon Forbidden West. Like, I have different things I can play if I'm burnt out or feeling fatigue on Digimon. I got other avenues to go down, and that way, I when I come back to Digimon, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let me see what all I can do. What's new? What's coming out? What's happening? Oh, that seems good. Let me go ahead and pull from that. Like you can't be just fixated on just one thing or one thing only. I mean, that's just not how it goes in general. You know what I'm saying? Like some people lives may be very linear, but we're all here to experience it in different ways and avenues and share it with each other so we can all see it from different people's perspectives and point of views to help better ourselves.
Yeah. So, all right, let me ask you this. Something that's like in the kind of general same vein as Burnout, but a little bit different, right? And I think this is what is sometimes causes burnout, or it's like on the brink of burnout. But me and you have played a bunch of card games, so you'll definitely be able to like know what I'm talking about here. So
Hmm.
what about when you're just in a slump? You're not burned out, you want to play the game, but just for some reason you can't get that win, or you're just on a losing streak, or just nothing, you just seem to keep bricking and stuff like that. What how do you deal with times like that? Because when you're competing in like any game, and it doesn't have to be a card game, doesn't have to be esports, it could be sports, it could be basketball, it could be whatever, anything, even school. Sometimes in school you're just not having the best week or whatever. It's similar to burnout, but you usually still have the motivation to get it going. But how do you try and like get over that hurdle?
Well, I've always so me personally, I'm a master crafter. I'm a deck builder. I'm a tech guru. Like that's my thing. I don't like to play meta. So when I have to go against meta, I know how to combat it.
Mm-hmm.
But if something's not working, I step back from it and I don't get rid of it. I put it to the side and say, let me try something else. Because, okay, say for instance, I'm playing purple and I'm going against, for example, Lord Nightmare. And I can't quite get the matchup, but I know there's something missing. Maybe it's something that I'm not seeing. Okay, let me play, a different color. Let me see. Let me go against that same matchup. Oh, this works. Well, is there something in that in particular color that can do the same exact thing or close to it for that matchup? So it's one of the things to where that's why I was saying if we talk to each other and communicate and kind of see where everybody's coming from and what would they do in this situation or what would they play in this situation and kind of see will it fit in my strategy and in my deck and how I want to do things, that's where it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not in this game. We may be playing this game by ourselves against another person, but we're not in this game alone. Like, okay to take a breather and to, hey, go talk about football.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, go shoot some hoops. Hey, hey, you want to challenge me on Smash Brothers? Let's go ahead and do that. Hey, log in a master duel. Let me go ahead and do you for a bit. Hey, let me just go. Hey, you got that shiny, you got that shiny Rayquaza that you've been going ahead and hard resetting for. Yo, let me go ahead and see if I can. Is it how many IVs? Is it 5 IVs, 6 IV? Like that kind of thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
always okay to escape it and then to come back with a fresh mindset because you see different things that you would have never saw if you was just tunnel vision into it.
Yeah. So this topic of like getting over the hurdle is actually something that I spent a decent amount of time studying because back so basically short story time for backstory. In 2020 when quarantine hit and stuff, I had just unsigned with my Hearthstone sponsor. And that was because I was doing really well and I was like I want to branch out and try to find something better. And then the quarantine hit, and then the Hearthstone scene kind of died down, and I wasn't really having as much fun with it. So I switched over to Pokemon VGC, and I was having this problem in Pokemon VGC really hard, where I kept hitting like these slumps and these walls, where I was just like chipping away at it endlessly but getting like no results. It was basically like I was running like a million miles per hour but on a treadmill, so I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I actually like studied it. I read my mom librarian, so I like got some books from the library. I bought some books. I was reading it, reading articles and stuff. And the one thing that I found that is the most effective way to combat this, and I use this all the time, and if you ever watch some of my content where I talk about educational content, I always bring this concept up, and it's just because it's so important. And what I found you do is if you're in a slump and you're trying to figure out what to do, you're trying to figure out what's wrong, you can't find that factor, is you need to take logs of literally everything. So like get a notebook, and every time you play, write down the things that went well, write down the things that went bad, write down how you feel, write down the negative thoughts you have, and like once you start to put the things on paper, a lot of the times you're going to be able to connect the dots. After a couple days of writing it down, you're probably going to find out, oh, I'm like being really negative in my self-talk and like how I'm looking at the game, so I'm not even trying to find the correct lines because you're going into each game already kind of giving up a little bit because you're just in a bad mind state, so you're not making optimal plays. Or maybe you're having like confirmation bias where you're having a deck where you won a couple times and so you thought it was like really good the first couple days, but then the next week you just went total losses and you think that it's because you're in a slump, but you're actually just using an ineffective deck, or like your ratios are off and you're just not paying attention to it. It's like if you could just write stuff down, it's going to be there forever. It's going to be there for you to review, and you're going to be able to just like write down everything that's on your mind. And if you do that, you're going to be able to advance in like everything in a card game. If you want to get better, if you want to make your deck better, take down notes on what works and what doesn't work. If you want to get better in like making plays, write down what plays you make that end up working versus this matchup but don't work versus this matchup. And after you take pages and pages and pages of notes and you spend 10-15 minutes every night looking at the notes that you took, after like a month of doing that, you're going to be like you're going to be a lot better at like preventing these slumps because you're going to get a system in place of like recognizing when things aren't going well and identifying what they are.
Yeah, that's something, self-reflection. There
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
So that's perfect. That is perfect. I think that compounds with what I was saying too. Because if you self-reflect and you get an honest outside opinion on that same self-reflection, you'll do a lot more digging than you would ever do if you just bang your head against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like number one thing when it comes to preventing burnout, take care of yourself.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, take care of yourself.
yeah. Do
It,
something
I
that you
look,
enjoy. Instead of
and
like wallowing in the pain of the anger of that things aren't going your way, go do something that makes you happy, and then you're going to be able to come back with like a better mindset. This is something I was terrible at. I've always been about grind it out, grind it out. The more hours you put in, the better performance you're going to have in the tournament. Like grind it out, grind it. But the thing is it like if you get if you grind something for infinite, what happens to that thing that you're grinding? It turns to dust, right?
mhm.
You want it to like you want to try to like craft yourself into like an ice sculpture where like if you go and you see those dudes get ice sculptures, they're gonna have a big old block of ice and they're gonna chip away at it until it's like something beautiful. But if you just chip away at it forever, you're just gonna have a giant pile of ice rubble because you're just chipping away at forever. And that's what I would do. I would like literally just grind it out till it was like way too late and I passed that threshold. And then it would like affect my mental because I'd be like focusing on it so hard and like just fully living in the negative of the fact that I was just like in a slump or I was just having a mental like just a bad day, and like I would just wallow in it. And that was something that I had to take time to like learn, that it's just like you just got to get away. Like you just have to make it so you have to think about literally anything else than that. Like just go call somebody, call your homie, say what's up. You want to hang out? You want to go do something? You want to do this? You want to go get some food? Like just go do something. And it'll help a lot because there's a lot of times I've had bad sessions and then just went and did something that made me like smile and like laugh, and then I was able to go back and be like in a whole different mindset because I like you go back into it with like a happy mindset.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, like 100%. Like, I mean, even ice sculptors have to step back and see the bigger picture for what it is,
Mm.
and how to approach it from that point forward. So Yeah, we just have to this whole because remember, if you do something over and over and over again, expecting a different result, that's called insanity.
Hmm.
And it's okay to stop, reevaluate, look at from the bigger picture, get an outside opinion, and then okay, let me try a different approach. If you're doing the same thing, like you can bang your head on a brick wall, but guess what? That brick wall ain't moving.
Hmm.
You're gonna be more hurt than that wall at the end of the day, regardless of what you think.
Yeah, but to add on to
So,
that, it's like you need to know what, like when you say doing the same thing over and over again expecting the same result is insanity. You need to understand like
mhm,
what, like when you hit that point where what you're doing is like, as you say, that like doing it over and over again expecting a different result. Because
mhm.
like if you want to play a match, if you want to beat a matchup, then playing against Jesmon over and over again isn't going to be bad because you'll be able to learn. But like what he means is like you need to learn that like for like I said, I was grinding myself to like just grinding it out and like mentally like going at it so hard. And if you in like it never brought me results. So if I didn't like learn and realize, hey, once I hit this point, I have to step away, whether it's for a day, a week, a couple minutes, a month, whatever, like whatever it is, you gotta figure out and hit that point and like realize it. So it's like when he's saying like that, you gotta like not, if you do the same thing over and over again, expect the same results. It's insanity. But you got to understand, like that part is like the part that isn't working. It's not, don't play the same matchup over and over again. Don't study this over and over. Don't test. It's like don't overgrind yourself too much. Don't make yourself angry because you're losing too much. Don't go to locals 2 times a week. If when you lose you're angry, go once a week and try to like take those notes and get better and stuff like that. Like don't try to brute force your way into like improving in a game if it's like damaging to your mental.
Right, right. Like perfect example, as you said. If you're playing against Jessmon and you're hyper conservative and it's not working, you keep on being hyper conservative and it's not working. Maybe you need to be a little more aggressive and see how that works out for you. Maybe you need to be a lot more aggressive. See how that works out for you. Like if you keep doing the same thing in the same matchup and it's not working, but you think, oh, that's gonna work this time.
Yeah. And that's
Hold
called
on.
confirmation bias. You can look that up. You can look up
Yes.
confirmation bias. If you don't know what
Like
confirmation bias is and you're listening to this, go look that up because as somebody who's done coaching in multiple games, one of the biggest things that players do to hold themselves back in literally every game that I've ever been a part of is confirmation bias. It's
that's
seeing
funny.
something work once or twice and it just ignoring when it doesn't work, essentially. And it's just like, no, this will work.
It's funny because I'm coaching in 3 different card games right now, including Digimon.
Hmm.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been coaching for the past 10 years when it comes to card games.
Hmm.
So it's one of the things to where people's like, oh, but it worked in this one matchup, and it's gonna work in
Hmm.
all. No,
Hmm.
hold on, hold on. Like just because it worked one time don't mean nothing. It's all about
Exactly.
consistency.
Exactly. Look,
Like,
right here, people literally pay to have coaching sessions with me, but I'm going to give it to you right here. I'm going to give you one of the biggest tips I can give you for free on the podcast right here, and that is do whatever you can to beat confirmation bias. The longer you stay in
mhm.
your own mindset of how things work and don't question it and like ignore outside sources of people who contradict what you think, the longer you do that, the more stuck you're going to stay in anything. That's not card games, that's not sports, that's learning in anything, unless you are
Yeah,
like the master. But the thing is, if you look at people who are considered the experts in any area, they're usually the people who are like the most open to learn because that's how they became experts.
I agree 100%. Like before, I'm at the position I am now. I was a football coach. I was one for 7 years. We went to 2 championships, 1 to 1. Like I wouldn't got to that point if I didn't adapt. If I wouldn't got to that point if I didn't step back and say, what do I need to do different? What do I need? How do I need to approach it? How should it be done? Like ask outside sources. What do you think here? What do you think there? And then take it and be like, okay, how can I implement this my own personal way? We're not saying, do exactly what somebody else is doing, net that them 100%, go like because you may not have the same mindset as them. You
Mm-hmm.
can't think like them. You may not think in certain situations like they would to get out of that situation. So it's one of those things to where you can learn 100 different lines and different ways to beat just mine. But if you cannot execute them properly when something goes awry, which happens 90% of the time, then and you're trying to keep on doing it over and over and over again, you have to stop and step back and you have to evaluate where did I go wrong? And you have to learn from your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just have to. Like if you don't, you're gonna be stuck in this rut and then you're gonna get so burned out that you're gonna be frustrated. And when it comes to frustration, remember I said frustration leads to toxicity. Then frustration also leads to people leaving the game. So if you're super frustrated and you're still in, you become toxic.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, and you're not in the game, then you leave the game. That's one blessed person that we have that's in the Digimon community.
Here's something
So
we haven't mentioned that's really important that goes along with this, and so I just want to throw it in right here. The longer you stay in that negative mindset, like if you're burnt out or if you're tilted or whatever towards the game, and you don't take that breakaway and you grind it out and you keep grinding yourself, you're gonna start to like genuinely dislike the game. As to where
oh
if you're
yeah,
having a bad time and you just step away and you just cool off and you come back when you need to, like I said, whether that's after a lunch or like you go to lunch with a buddy or you go over to their house, or maybe it's the next day, maybe you take a week off, maybe it's like nationals where I take a couple weeks off. Like if you don't do that when you need to and you stay there, you're going to like grow resentment towards whatever it is that you're doing. And if you have like actual goals to like grow and improve at whatever it is, in this case Digimon, but you're like playing it when you're actually actively disliking what you're doing, you're going to that like dislike that's just negative emotions right now is going to over time cement itself into like genuine dislike for the game because you're just used to being upset when you're playing the game.
and that was me when it came to Dragon Ball. Like I love that game. I played the, first two versions of it before they came out with this final one that Bandai went ahead and threw out there. I was like, I mean, I grinded. Like, I was really at locals twice a week, grinding Dragon Ball, trying to figure this out. For those of you who was play, play Dragon Ball, I played Red Green Khalifa. With the veggie package. Like I went in hard. Broly came out. Like I had a good matchup against Broly because like my deck was hyper aggressive, and that's what red green does is hyper aggressive. And I was like, yeah, I got this. But when being aggressive didn't work, and I hit a wall, and especially against if you played Dragon Ball, when you hit a wall against the apes when they all have blocker, then you're like, well, I can't do nothing. Like I can't get past anything. I can't. Then it's the frustration starts selling in, and then like I said, it just wasn't the frustration with me. It was also the pricing. How if you want to play a good deck, you have to literally spend about $300-400 on a card or $135 on a card, and then you sometimes you need three of, and then that one of card that's the one's $155, and like you end up with $1,000 deck at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that on compound with the frustration of my favorite strategy in the game not being able to work. Like I was like, you know what, I could stay. I was like, with the prices going crazy, I can't do it. Like I have to fall back, and this is where I went to like just like you. I went to Smash Brothers, but actually I was playing Smash competitively. And by the way, I'm a Kirby man, Kirby Yoshi. So
Okay.
it was one of the things to where I went to the Smash Brother community. It was okay. Then I went back into Pokemon. If you know anything about me, I played Pokemon when it first came out, all the way to all the way to Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I believe it was Triumph. Took a break, came back in Black and White, and it was like, yeah. I took another break right after that when X and Y came out. No, it was X and Y. It wasn't X and Y. It was Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon came out. That was the time that I went to Dragon Ball. Came back, I was like, you know what? Let me play some Pokemon. Play some Pokemon. I had Yu-Gi-Oh. Like you have to have different avenues to release your frustration instead of just like pour it all into this one in particular thing, which, at the time for me was Dragon Ball. For you, it may be Digimon. You know, you have to learn how to pull back and divvy it out into other things. Maybe go play some Dark Souls. Elder Ring just came out, so it's like, play some video games. Like go out, touch some grass.
Hmm.
Just breathe a little bit. Like it's okay to step back. It's okay, especially if you're frustrated. Don't get burnt out. Just
Yeah.
try not to get burnt out.
And I think another thing they say is so like me and you, I feel like, well, I guess how should I say this? Me and you at this current moment, I feel like are different style of card game players, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a little more jack of all trades kind of
Mm-hmm.
guy, as to where like I'm like if we say the jack of all trades and then the master of one type thing, I would say I'm a little bit more like throughout my career I've always tended to be a little bit more of the master of one guy, where it's just like I'll if I'm want to win and I want to get good at a game, I'll play it hardcore no matter how, like if I dislike the metagame or however it is. But that's just me. That's just because I'm just competitive like that. And so like even if I'm not having fun, if I'm winning, I'm probably having fun, even if the metagame's not that great. But like other people like you who are like jack of all trades type people, most of the time a better thing is just gonna be like if you're just not having fun in the metagame, just don't even play that metagame. Come back to the next metagame. If you have other card games, go do that. But it's like Lord Nightmare meta. If people didn't like BT5, okay, then step away. Come back BT6. You don't like BT6, like, and then you like BT6, but like in the time between BT5 and BT6, when you weren't having fun, you're playing this card game or you're doing this activity. It's just like I think one of the things when it comes to competition is a lot of people will attach their identity to that game when they like shouldn't, I guess I should say. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, I'll attach my identity to Digimon player, right? Because I play it a lot. I make the content, talking about it all the time, reviewing all the time. Like that's fine. That's kind of like that's my thing, you know. But then there's the other person who like they identify themselves as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, right? And
Yeah.
then they like, but that's just what they do for like fun. It's like a hobby. They're not there to try to like win every tournament. They're just there to like test out their rogue deck and the ideas that they made, and they just want to have fun, right? But if you're not having fun, but you're still identifying yourself as like the Yu-Gi-Oh guy, it's gonna like be really hard for you to leave, and like take a break from for a while from like the like I said, a metagame where you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna wait till the next ban list comes out or whatever. But you're like identifying yourself as the Yu-Gi-Oh player. It's a lot harder for you to like step away. And so like I would be careful with like being conscious as where you are as a competitor, like what level of dedication do you have, because if you're like if you're not as dedicated but you kind of like tell yourself you're that Yu-Gi-Oh player but you're not having fun, it's going to be a lot harder for you to step away, and you're just going to kind of be like torturing yourself playing a metagame that you don't really like. And then if that puts you in that negative mood, that's going to be like how I said earlier, where the longer you're in there, the more you're going to kind of like start to resent the game. So it's like, oh, it's like, well, I love Yu-Gi-Oh but I hate this metagame, but I don't want to stop playing, but I'm playing this metagame I hate. And so now after the 2 months of it going on, the next ban list is going to come out. Normally I'd be really excited, but I just spent the last 2 months hating the fact that I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, so now I don't like it or whatever. So it's like you got to kind of like you just got to be like you got to understand where you're at, so that way it's easier for you to like step away. And when you're doing other things like that, like if you're just a card game fan, then play multiple card games, even if it's like at like the lowest level for some, because it's like if you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh
Mm-hmm.
at a like a medium time commitment level and you don't want to play that anymore, but then you can switch over to like Card Fight Vanguard, which you just all you have is like a starter deck and you bought like one booster box. Well, if you don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, you could switch over to there, and even though you're not like super crazy into that game, you can start to learn and put that competitive TCG like love or just like whatever it is for you into a different game, and then you'll be able to come back later. And it's just a cycle. Like we keep talking about having like different outs to things that you do, but I don't think people really understand how important that is because like that's something that I didn't do for a long time. Like there's many times in my life where I've been sponsored for a game and I just live that game for literally years, day in and day out, and it can get to the point now where like a lot of the games that I used to play and used to be sponsored for, like I hate them. Like Hearthstone, I hate Hearthstone with a passion. Could not play another game of Hearthstone for the rest of my life because like I just was so in that negative state for so long with Hearthstone, and I just felt the game getting worse and worse. That like once I finally stepped away, I was just like, I just can't go back. Like I needed to step away literally 6 months prior.
Yeah, man, that's me in Dragon Ball. Seriously, like my thing is, Prim, you would consider yourself a meta player, correct?
Definitely, how I choose how I play things is what I think is the best always.
And see that's the thing with me. This is why I think we're two different classifications, which is a great thing, because I'm a rogue player.
Mm-hmm.
Though yes, Live Mine was meta, Live Mine was meta, but at the same time, the meta always shifts. It always goes in and out. My thing is, yes, I designated myself to two different colors, but if you know me and you know me at locals, and when I played blue. I played blue Metal Guruomon
Oh my
just
god,
to
I saw
see
that. Yeah,
yeah, just to see like, my mindset. And I was like, you know what? I want to play something different. Let me see if I can make Metal
I got
Guruomon
footage of
work.
you playing that, and I only didn't upload it because I'm pretty sure you bricked like so hard game two
I
that it was like
did.
not even it wasn't even a game.
I did. I had the hard drop Metal Guruomon for 11.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like watching
That's
through it. I
how
was like,
bad
you
it
know
was.
what? I was like, this is a little too one sided game two.
And my thing is like I didn't have ice walls. I didn't have all the good stuff from BT7. I was missing a couple of my promos I couldn't find at the time. It was just something I threw together.
Yeah,
But it was my way of going in and seeing what the local meta is and how people play. And of course, I always play against Lonnie when I do play.
I
Makes
know. I don't
no
know
sense
why, but it's like
whatsoever.
round one every time.
Yeah, yes. I'm like, well, okay. And Lonnie's like, I don't want to play a mirror match. I'm like, yo, you won't play a mirror match? I'll play a Metal Garurumon, so you're good. He's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, it was one of the things to where I was like, okay, I want to see how this person thinks. Because if this person is all about the meta, which, I mean, Lonnie can dip into a meta a lot of time. He is, a competitive player, so he
Lonnie's
does
a
dip into it.
borderline meta player. He
Yeah,
plays. He
correct.
plays like the thing is he's like a purple player. It's just purple got good.
Yeah, exactly. And like me and him are really the only two purple players in our whole entire local scene. So it's one of those things to where I'm like, okay, what is Lonnie Burton? So, what is he trying out? So he was trying the deck that he went to nationals with. He got day two out, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
Yeah, so like, he got the day two of national. So he was like, yeah, I'm testing this out. And I saw, how frustrating it was because I'm playing blue. I have three hammer sparks in my hand, but he has triple Mimi. And if you know what Mimi
And
says,
Gazimon.
right. So like he didn't even have the Gazimon was inbreeding. So
Oh
he had
yeah.
triple Mimi out, and I was like, okay, if you don't know what purple Mimi does, is when your opponent plays an option card, you suspend it and you gain a memory.
Well,
So
it's
if
when
I
an option card is played. You can do it on your own.
yeah, yeah. So it's like if I played my hammer spark, I
He
lose
gains
two
two
memory.
memory. Yeah, yeah. You
So he
lose
had
two memory.
three. Yeah, so he had three Mimi out. I was like, well, I can't hammer spark, or else this will be a totally different game too. Like if I hammer spark, I didn't go up the chain. I have them at the rights, but I can't do that. So it was one of those different lines of play. I was like, I never thought of playing a Mimi. And me and him talked a little bit afterwards just to see why. He was like, oh, it's for, all the people who are out there playing this card or playing heavy options like security control, it helps me gain more memory so I can do more plays. I was like, oh, very interesting. And like, from one purple player to another one, that's the kind of stuff as, me being a role player. I like somebody like Lonnie who's borderline, and then I like somebody like you who is actually straight up meta, because I can then bounce ideas off of both y'all, and just like, okay, as a role player, I need to know how they think in order for me to combat it as well when it comes to my deck building and what plays that I should be making at in particular times. So yeah, it's a all encompassing thing. Some people are rogue, some people are meta, some people are in the middle, like learning their hybrid. Some people are just like, you know what? Let me just go play, my favorite Digimon, like how Romero does.
Hmm.
He's like, I'm gonna play, Machine Dramon.
Yeah,
I
he
was
wants
like,
Machine Dramon,
go
and
ahead.
luckily for him, hey, Machine Dramon's doing it right now. He chose a good time to get into
Exactly.
the game for sure.
Exactly. So like, and then he got more support in the net set. And
Yep.
then Josh wants to play Hexablow BT7. Hexablow BT7 can 100% work. It's one of the road decks
Yeah,
that
I mean,
meta
I've
decks are
seen
gonna have
some
a hard time
Hexablow
with.
lists. I've seen
Oh,
some.
oh yeah, like it's just like
I've seen the
it's
Hexablow
all
with
it's
the Leopardmon, and then
with the Leopardmon.
yeah, you can play with the Leopardmon and the Azulong, but you can with the BT7, you can there's like cards where it's like when you play them from source, things happen. So you tech it in, and then you can bring out like your level 4 or whatever, and then you have the Die
Mhm.
Penmon in BT7 too,
Yeah.
which is like a pseudo Hexablow and stuff. So it's like you tech the Leopardmon as like a one of. If you play it, maybe a two of with the Azulong and the Hexablow, but it's just like one of those things where it's just like if you get a Hexablow up, you can go into Leopardmon, play a source, go into like Die Penmon, set up like a pseudo Hexablow, so that way if they get rid of their Hexablow, you build up. It's like from what I think about it, it looks like a pseudo like Lord Nightmon style Hexablow, where it's like I'm just gonna play a Mega that makes another higher level Digimon besides a rookie that I can then build on top of. I think that's just kind of the general thing, but it's like you have the Waymon line now and you have like the Gomamon where it's like you can play stuff from your sources and gain you can draw cards like with the Gomamon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I I mean,
That's interesting.
yeah.
There's stuff like that. Like, I'm intrigued about stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, like these rogue decks, like if you're in Digimon, you can beat meta with rogue. Like
Mhm.
in any card game, you can beat meta with rogue. Don't think because it's not meta, so I can't win. No, rogue is a thing. Meta will always flesh out itself. There's always usually a triangle of meta decks outside of Lord Nightmind, that whole entire format. But there's really like a triangle effect, like in this format for BT6. We had Gabu Bond,
Gabubon,
we had
Setcon,
Security
Jesmon.
Control, we had Security Control, and then Chessmine. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
like those three decks, like depending on the matchups, one beats the other one, and then it gets beat by the other one. So it's one of the things to where as a role player you come in with the element of surprise. So if a if you're playing just straight up green OTK and you're going up against a Jetsmon player and Jetsmon player's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna flip this egg, I'm gonna do my typical stuff, and then you flip over a green Digi, they're like, oh, wait a minute, it's green, hold on, I have to think about this a little bit differently because if you don't know green likes to suspend. And if you bring that Digimon out and that Digimon suspended, it can pierce right over that Digimon. Or they can spin it back with Nihagmon. So like it's one of the things to where like different colors, different matchups, like being a role player is in my opinion, I love it. Like that's just me personally. Some people want to be if it ain't meta, which is the most efficient tactic available, if you're not meta, then it's nothing. It's like, okay, whatever whatever floats your boat, whatever fits your fancy. But don't get frustrated when you get beat by Rogue. As a role
I'm
player,
like in
don't
the
get
middle
frustrated when
right
you get
there
by
where
Rogue.
it's like I play meta for like big tournaments, but I
Mhm.
mean, how many times have you seen me roll up with D Brigade and like Shine Greymon and like
Yeah, that
random
is not
yellow
meta.
archetypes that like aren't meta at all?
And you was playing some shine. What was it? Was the Yellow War Greymon
Dude,
with
War
Shine
Greymon Turbo
Greymon.
was
I,
my
I
one of my
thought that
favorite
was
decks. Yeah.
I thought that was the best list with the Lord Nightmine and the War Greymon Yellow.
Uh
I
huh.
thought that was probably the best list that people could have played for Lord Nightmine.
I agree. I think a lot of other people agree too because there was a lot of times where my exact list I posted on YouTube topped tournaments.
Hey, that's all it is, man. Like people know that you come up with great ideas. They're like, you know what? Let me try it. Guess what? Success. There
Mm-hmm.
you go. Like the person who won EU Nats.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like,
Exactly. And I mean,
hey,
I just post my lists up there as like a lot of the times they're like bases because outside of like my Lord Nightmon list and like my Gabuban Nationals list, a lot of the lists like because those two lists had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours put into them, like ridiculous amount of hours refining one list for a specific metagame. But like a lot of the other lists are like not, it's like I'll play like it's like a couple weeks of testing and then I post it up there and be like, yo, this is a refined list and you can change what you need. But like if you're trying to play this deck, here's a base, try this and then make changes type of stuff.
right.
But outside of like yeah, like the Lord Nightmon stuff, like that that deck Gabu Bond, so much time.
Yeah, you probably spent the good 300 hours into that deck.
Oh dude, Gabu Bond, I minimum 500.
Ooh,
Me and
ooh,
Chris were playing BT6 like a month before it came out. Like when the delays happened, Chris bought a playset of everything from Europe. I printed out proxies. We played like TTS. Like we had already put in like probably 200 hours before BT6, like before Gabu Bond was even officially released. Like we had a pretty refined BT6 list like on pre-release day.
jeez. I mean, I only have an hour. I only have 100 hours on Lilith mine. Like, I ain't put that much time into it like you did.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I that's I mean that's why the Nationals performance hurt so bad that like I did so bad, but like I didn't leave anything on the table, like I grinded. I did my best,
Yeah, it happens. Like, just try again next year, next season. That's all.
I mean exactly. I mean there's no giving up now. It's just like I took my 2 weeks off of grinding and it's like back to it. Like I posted in my Discord earlier today like a questionnaire asking people questions on like how I can improve my content. Like I have my burnout little thing. That's what happens when you grind the same deck for 5, 6, 700 hours in like a 2 month span. That's like all you do is play this one deck. You get a little burnt out, but then hey, I took a break and I come back and now it's like all right, let's grind because it's like we got DigiFest coming up. Once regionals and all that stuff coming back around, I got to qualify for nationals again, and then next year you just run it up. It's like I've played competitive games for 18 years, almost 19 years now that I've been playing
Hmm.
competitive games, and it's just like these crushing defeats have happened to me like many times and they hurt, but it's like the only thing that's going to hurt worse is quitting and looking back in 10 years and like seeing that you just quit because you had that one failure instead of like learning from it and coming back stronger, making it like instead of like making it break you, making it harden you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you gotta have thick skin and a thick head.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the thing that's like I mean, I used to be very defeatist back in the day where it's just like things would go bad and I would like shut down, and now it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, it went bad and it's like I was definitely really down for like a few days because it's just like it was such a big build up to like such a disappointment, but it's not like it never crossed my brain where it's just like, oh, I guess like I don't play Digimon anymore. I quit. It's just like damn, it's just like, well, that sucked. I'm really burnt out. I don't really want to play right now. But then it's like the past couple days with BT7, I'm just like, I'm like watching videos. I'm like building decks in my head. I'm thinking about it. It's like it's back. You just get back on the grind. If you want that prize, whatever it is, whatever that end goal is, you gotta like break past those failures. You gotta like get back up, and you just gotta keep grinding. And it's like if you do that, people are gonna notice too, and it'll build respect for you.
Oh yeah. Like trust me, you got a lot of respect in this community, man. Like, trust me, if anybody y'all should be listening to about this, it's Prim. You already know. You already know how it goes.
It's just this is just what I do, like I started making content for Digimon because that's just what I just always what I did. It was just like whenever I played a game, I just told people what I did. I did coaching so much and my coaching was so successful for like multiple years that it was just like, well, I should just like make like a free version of it with like my blog and like YouTube stuff, and it's just like if you like more then it's like okay, you can do like one-on-one coaching and stuff. And that's kind of like how I started making content. And then I just got into Digimon. It's just like what I did. I was just like I should make videos of these deck profiles because I've put a bunch of time into these deck lists. So like people would probably like this D Brigade deck list because not a lot of people play D Brigade, but I'm like the one dude who's got like 100 hours in D Brigade. Or it's like, oh, I play a bunch of Shine Greymon and BT4 when like everybody's playing War Greymon like hyper. It's just like, okay, well I can show people my Shine Greymon list, and it just like built like that until it was like started uploading content videos and commentating them and just giving my insight about that, and it's just like it's just natural.
Oh yeah, yeah. But trust me, some people will get it, some people won't. But you know, whatever fits your fancy. That's it. At the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's no, I mean, that's just a thing as a content creator. Like, you're not for everybody, and if you try to get into like anything on the internet or like where you're in the public's eye at all, with the like idea that you're gonna be you have to please everybody, you're gonna go crazy because there's gonna people who don't
Mm-hmm.
like. There's people who probably are out there who have no idea who I am, have probably watched like 5 minutes of one of my videos, don't but they hate they don't like my content because they don't like my voice or they don't like my like. That's just the world. People are going to be predispositioned to not like you for things that are like literally out of your control. You're just like, I don't like your face
Correct.
that you were born with, so it's like I don't want to watch content where your
Right.
face is on it. It's just like that's just a thing. There's nothing you can do about that, and you're probably never gonna win that person over, and you don't have to. You just have to like. It's just like if you're making content, if you're trying to make content that you would watch, and then
Yep.
if you would watch content, if you make something that you would watch, with how many people are in this world, billions of people in this world, there's gonna be probably a couple thousand who also want to, or who are like also interested in the exact same videos that you like to watch. So it's like, if you're trying to get into content, do that. Do like what videos do you like to watch, and then make those videos and try to make them as good as you can, and you'll be able to grow. Because like that's what I did. Oh, I watch a bunch of battle videos and decklist profiles. Okay, well I'm gonna make my own battle videos and my own decklist profiles. I'm gonna try to make them as good as I can, and that was it. That's how I grew on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's like the
And
TL. That's like the TLDR, obviously, but like it's
a
that's
lot of
really all it
people.
was. It was like if I was uploading stuff, like for example, you upload market watches, right?
Yeah.
I don't watch market watches. I don't watch your market
Yeah.
watch. I'm sorry, bro. I don't watch
Oh, you're
Mario's market
good.
watch. I don't watch them.
I don't
It
watch your
holds,
battle videos.
yeah,
Like I like battle videos.
it holds no interest to me whatsoever. It's just not
Right.
my thing. It's not how my brain works. I don't really care. I just buy the cards or trade the cards for whatever price they're worth
Right.
when I need them. Um, and so I don't make market watch videos because if I make a market watch video about something I don't care about, then it's gonna be a bad video. But when you want to watch market watches, when you like market watches, when you like watching the numbers go up and keeping track of that stuff, then you're gonna have a good video. So it's like do what you like to watch, and it's like that's why I make vlogs. That's why I make vlogs. The vlogs are like the worst thing that I post on my channel. They like most of the time get like a third of the views that any of my other videos would get. They don't really get that much like feedback outside of like some likes and stuff, but I like locals vlogs. I've watched a bunch of them, so I make them so that way because there's still like probably 500 people of the like 2,700 people that are subbed to me that like those vlogs, and so it's like doesn't really hurt me to like once a month make something that I really enjoy because other people are gonna enjoy it, and then like that makes making content more fun.
Right. That's what it is. Like if you're not having fun doing it, then why are you doing it in the first place? Like
Exactly.
at the end of the day, like you do battle videos. I don't watch battle videos. I do market watches. You don't watch market watches.
Uh
That's
huh.
just how it is. Like the whole thing is, I have deck profiles that I have coming up. I already built 3 decks. I actually got the cards for them, so I'm gonna start putting deck profiles. I know those gonna probably be the most viewed things on my channel,
Hmm.
but those are something that I want to do few and far between. I don't want to have to upload a new deck profile every single week unless it's somebody, at locals that had like a spicy deck. I'm like, yo, can I
Hmm.
record that? Can you go over that? I can upload it to the channel, stuff like that. But I like to see, what things are coming in. I like the theory craft. Like that. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
And that's what my channel is focused on is theory crafting about the Digimon card game, what combos and lines gonna be coming out, in the next set or two. What the market's looking like. So if you want to play a certain deck, you better get the cards at this point
I
or
feel
sell
like
the
you have
cards
like an
now, stuff like that.
overall. I feel like you have like an
Yeah,
umbrella of things.
yeah, yeah. I'm more of a if you want to know the gist of Digimon and enter into it without being so bogged down on like specifics, I'm kind of that person you'll come to like, oh, okay. So if I buy these cards, it's actually a good time to buy them now. And if not, okay, this card, this set's coming out. Oh, I really like that Digimon. So let me go ahead and pick up these cards. He says around this price, so we should be good. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna get scammed by somebody. And then when the set comes out, I can go ahead and grab those cards and then I can play my favorite Digimon deck or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, yeah, I'm very general with it.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
that's like the thing. That's like the difference, right? Like it like as somebody who's gonna go to your channel and look at your stuff, or people who are trying to generally like with how your content is, they're trying to look ahead, right? They're trying to see
mm-hmm,
what cards am I gonna need for the future, what cards are coming out in the future. You got Future Visions, you got Market Watch. Those are both series that are generally focused around looking towards the future of the game, right? As to where
yep,
like with my content, it's like both highly it's like the two focuses are competitive and current format, right? So if you're trying to find
yep,
like content about the current format that's highly competitive, then my channel is good for you. But if you're looking for what stuff you're going to pick up in the future and what archetypes are going to be around when BT8 comes out or when EX2 comes out, then you go to Dante because he's going to have all that. He's going to be able to go, you're going to be able to check out the Future Vision, see what's going on. Then you can check out the Market Watch, and it's like right after. And it's like, and that's how it is. That's like, if we're going to be talking about how to like build like a content creator, it's like, you got to do what you know. You got to like,
mm-hmm,
and then also another thing is like to go back to like burnout and stuff, which we were kind of about to touch onto it. It's like something that you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, and also something that we talked about a little bit before we started. Is like you were saying you got to take a week off from making content just because you just got to like there's like if you're trying to grow very very hard as a content creator, then there are like there's like a positive to uploading every day, right? But
right.
it's like if you're burnt out, then you got to like figure out how to make that as like a minimal time as possible. So instead of like uploading like making and uploading one video every day like 7 days a week, then it's like instead it's like one video you make like one day you make like three videos, and then another day you make like three videos, and then like you have like days off in between and stuff. And it's like if you're trying to go as a content creator, you have to like definitely balance it out. Because when I first started, I like set myself. Because the other thing too is, if you don't have valuable things to say, you're gonna have bad content. Like when I first started uploading
Mm-hmm.
Digimon content, I set myself the goal where I was like, I'm gonna upload every day for a month, and I'm just gonna see what happens. That's how like this all started, and towards like the last like 8 to 10 days where I uploaded, I got people commenting. They're like, "Yo, I love your content, but this sucks. Like you're just uploading like this is just you're just uploading this to have content on the channel. Like this is the match that you upload sucks. The commentary wasn't that great. Blah blah blah." It's like that's gonna hurt your channel more than not uploading is gonna be. So it's like you have to like yes, uploading every day is gonna be good for like the YouTube algorithm, but it's not gonna help like grow as a content creator. So it's like figure out what you want to do, find what videos you like and what you're knowledgeable in, and then find a schedule where it's like manageable, and then like you definitely have a good start on like making content. Because it's like for me a lot of the times I'll just make like two or three videos back to back, and then I just schedule them for upload on YouTube. And it's like I don't know how like you do it, but it's just like if you work on it like every single day, it can get really annoying. But it's just like some days I can do that where it's just like, oh, I just want to do one video today, and the next day I'll just do one video. And then some days it's just like, man, dude, it's just like I'm kind of burnt out from Digimon, so I'm just gonna bust out like three battle videos right now, make sure that they're good quality, and then just schedule them for upload. And then you got like 3 days worth of content right there, and then that's like a 3 day break that you can take without giving off the illusion that you're taking a like the illusion is that you're not taking a break because you're uploading, but reality you just did 3 days worth of stuff in one day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, and that was my thing. Like, I caught myself after I did Market Watch on Wednesday. I caught myself after I uploaded it. I was like, I'm tired. Like, I was serious. And I work 10 hours a day. No, I have a job. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
accountant. Like, so I'm tired. So all my videos are done and uploaded that same exact day that they go up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I try to do it by certain time periods. Like I woke up on Saturday yesterday and was like, okay, I gotta get up and I gotta do EXO2 because that's the next set in chronological order. So I was like, okay, I gotta do it EXO2 Future Visions. And I came down here and sat down and I was like, No, I'm gonna wait a week
Mm-hmm.
because because I'd rather have it, genuine. And because all my videos are one take, like I one take them,
Yeah.
like that's it. It's all raw. It's my opinion right off the top of the head. Simple as that. So it's like, yeah, maybe I can do some editing things, but again, I work 50 hours a week. I don't have time for editing as of this moment. So what my first impression and my first thought is, I'm throwing it out there. If you want to, have a different opinion, put it in the comments. Let's go. Like we can talk back and forth. That's not an issue. I'm all great. Like somebody might come like, hey bro, I love your videos. Your mic is a little bit low. Sometimes it's hard to hear you. I'll say, oh, I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and make sure my mic settings are different, or I change them up and whatnot. So I haven't heard anything from the last 5 or 6 videos. So it should be good to go. The same settings I use for the podcast. So it's one of the things to where it's always good to give us constructive criticism, because then when we're stepping back and like, okay, what do I need to do to improve this channel? Read through the comments. There you go. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so read through the comments. People's like, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do that. Huh, let me think about that. Because people's like, hey, you should upload deck profiles, because my live mon deck from BT3 got 600 views. Like I have 52 subscribers. That's insane. So it's one of the things to where, yeah, I can upload a deck profile, once every other week and just keep it going. But that's not like, that's something that I want to do on my own time and not have to put into my schedule. Like my future visions, I have 2 whole sets that I need to go through, which is 6 videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, I do a weekly market watch, and then I do the podcast. So I'm uploading 3 times a week. I could upload again. I really could upload again, but I want the quality of it to
Mm-hmm.
be as best as possible. So I'm waiting to give me a different camera so I can upload with. My webcam is okay if I'm doing market watches or if I'm doing future vision. I can't do debt profiles on that cam. So I need to wait to give me a better cam to upload debt profiles, and then we'd be perfectly fine. Now I can start uploading debt profiles with the comfort of knowing that hey, this is a super high quality video. 'Cause I'm not just gonna throw stuff out there just to throw out there. Like a last market watch, like I'm gonna tell you straight up, I was so tired. I yawned in it 3 different times throughout that video, and I was like, I didn't catch it until after it was uploaded. I was like, man, I need to take a break, because like I should not be doing this while I'm tired, but I don't have time in my day to just be like, okay, I'm gonna just bust this all out. Especially the market, like the market is so volatile that I need to catch it right then and there, upload it right then and there. So as of that moment, you know what to probably expect.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say, oh, I'm gonna do this on Wednesday and upload it Friday, because we saw how Ancient Greymon spiked up like $30, $40 overnight.
Yeah.
Like things like that happen all the freaking time. Things drop. It goes crazy. So my stuff is my market watch are time sensitive, but future visions isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like the balance of my channel is, with our podcast is present. With market watch is present. With future vision is future. But the market watch goes with the future visions. So it's kind of like I got everything coinciding together. And that's what I like about my channel. And my man, you grind so freaking hard. Honestly, like I would have to sit back and look at your channel and just go through everything to give you any kind of constructive criticism. All I know is you do your thing every single solitary day, and I can't say nothing against that whatsoever.
I'm just trying to do my thing, man. I mean, I just I've wanted to be a world champion since I was a little kid, and I just haven't given that up. That's
I
all it
don't
is.
do that.
That's all it
That's your
is.
grind. Don't do that.
Yeah. Nah. It's just sometimes something compels you so much that you can't shake it, and that's the one
Yeah.
constant in my life where it's just like anytime I went back away from it, when I was going doing schooling for personal training, or when I like stepped away for a year in 2018 to just work full time, like all those times is always just like what's missing. It's just like that. It's competing. So it's like, and then also, I mean, the thing now is too with the channel. I mean, when I got to like 1,000, I'll say something where I'm just gonna kind of like, I don't know if this is like an ego thing. I don't really know. I don't care. So there was a point where I uploaded a bunch of Lord Nightmon gameplay, right? And I had a very different Lord Nightmon list. I was playing the purple Kari. I was only playing 2 blinding rays. I had like very specific ratios of certain things, right? And then so I'm not seeing any list like that. I'm like working this I crafted this list, right? And then I upload it, and then like very soon after that, there's a lot of Lord Nightmon lists topping online events or regionals or people like uploading videos, or I even got like shout outed in a couple of videos of people who were playing like their store championships. It got like deck profiles where they're just like, I was just using Primitive's profile. But the thing is like around that time I hit like 1,000 subscribers, and I was like, okay, like the deck list that I use is like essentially warped the Lord Nightmon metagame to like a decent amount, and I have like now like 4 digits worth of people who are like watching my content. And so it's like it hit that thing to me where it's like like I need the people who are watching my content and taking the time to watch the content should be able to like learn something from it, and that's like on me. So it's like another thing where it's like not only am I like driven to like compete, but like I've always been a coach and like done coaching. Like I want to help other people become the best that they can in this, because this is what I'm the most knowledgeable about. I don't have anything to hide when it comes to like this knowledge. Like the better everybody else around me is, the better that I become. So it's like me helping other people only makes me better in the long term. And so it's like those type of things, it's just like it's just natural. So it's like you just gotta do what you know, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I know that 100%. Well, Prim, we've been doing this for over an hour. You got any final words?
Yeah, I mean, so we talked about the like I'll just give like so what let's do this, right? So we talked
Mm-hmm.
about burnout, we talked about breaking the wall, and we talked about kind of like growing as a content creator. Those were kind of our main 3 topics. So how about we just like try to give one last thought of those 3, right? Just
Yeah.
the final takeaway. It was like the one final takeaway you give those 3. So for me, when it comes to burnout, always monitor yourself. Take the breaks. Don't worry about like especially right now in Digimon, we don't have big tournaments coming up. There's very few people who are qualified for Worlds. There's no regionals coming up. Digifest isn't really as important of a tournament. Like all that stuff is just like if you're burning out, just step away. Just take a break. When it comes to overcoming the like hurdles and like when you're just stuck, I'm just gonna reiterate again. Take notes of like everything. Have physical forms of data that you can like see. That's like quantifiable data that can like tell you exactly what's going on, and that'll help you so much. And then if you're going as a content creator, do what it is that you enjoy, because you'll genuinely enjoy. Like if you make what you enjoy watching, you'll enjoy making it because it's what you it's what you like.
Yeah. My final thoughts would be, if you're not having fun while doing it, step back for a minute
Uh huh.
and then try it again. If you're not having fun while doing it a second time, maybe consider doing something else.
And
It's
never quit, but
okay.
don't quit. Whatever it is, just
No,
don't
don't.
quit. And it's not
No,
like, and I don't mean
don't
like don't
quit.
like if you're playing Digimon, never quit it, but it's just like never quit searching for whatever that is. You know, like don't quit. Like we said, like some people are like if you hit that burnout and you feel like it's just like you don't enjoy the game anymore, don't quit. Take a step away, and then one of the advices that I give is from the Olympian Nastia Lukin is never quit on a bad day. Whenever you have a bad day and
Hmm.
you have bad emotions, don't quit, because you're gonna be your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions are gonna be clouded by bad emotions that aren't truly reflective of how you truly feel when you're in a clear state of mind. So whenever you're considered doing something like that, always quit on a good day. If you can have a good day and look back and be like, yeah, I'm good. I don't really need to do that anymore. You're good, and that's for everything: card games, content, sports, whatever.
Yeah. it's easier to quit on a bad day than it is to win on a good day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, with that being said,
I guess
I
that's it,
think
man. I guess we will
it's time
announce
for us to
that
wrap it
we're
up.
what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna be aiming to do next week's episode live over on my Twitch channel, where we will be having a bit longer of an episode. I think the last one we did live was about 2.5 hours, so you would expect probably somewhere between the 2 to 3 hour range that will be in there. I would assume. But we'll keep you updated on that with social medias. Just want to give you a heads up about that. Where if you want to catch it live, be sure to check out my Twitch, which the link is in the description. We'll be going live next Sunday. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, with that being said, thank you all so much for listening in this week. We had a little bit different of a podcast today, not really talking so much about the metagame or any of the development, but we talked about some of the more fundamental things as a card game player, burnout, getting over these hurdles. These things are very important to growth and all the stuff like that. So I hope you were still able to find some good value out of this episode. I'm sure if you're trying to grow, you definitely should have been able to learn something about this. Me and Dante definitely are trying to give you everything that we know to help you get
Yeah.
better in these areas. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. I'm Primitive,
Now I'm Dante.
and we're going to catch you all next week. Peace out.
Peace.